Welcome back to another episode of Exploring Shasta County History. I'm your host, Jeremy M. Tuggle. Today, out in front of Reading Fire Hall number 3 at a very historic site. This site, believe it or not, is part of Noble's Emigrant Trail, which continued west on into Shasta, up the hills from here. And here at this location was the historic site of Canon House, which predated Reading about 20 years or so. Pretty busy place of the 1850s. Dates back to 1853. There is a marker here that marks the spot of Noble's Emigrant Trail. Let me flip my camera around and I'll show you what's up. At the intersection of Bonaventura and West Side Road. So that's that intersection right there. This is historic Noble's Emigrant Trail. Coming up on the historic marker that sits just off to the side of the firehouse. Noble's Trail, Canon House, or Canyon House, started and traveled some 16 miles and camped within 40 rods, 220 yards of the Canon House for the night. Ransom Josiah Arnold, September 11th, 1860. This plaque was placed in 2008 by Trails West Incorporated. So about where Pacific Supply Company is today, that would be about 220 yards from here. And so somewhere on that property is where Canon House is. The Canon House, or Canyon House, as mentioned earlier in this video, was a pretty busy place during the 1850s and into the 1860s. The settlement was situated at this point along historic Noble's Emigrant Trail, which was blazed and routed by William H. Nobles and opened in 1852 as a safer route and an easier alternative from the Lassen Trail that travelers, wagons, pack trains, and freight trains using this route into Shasta County. Canon House, or Canyon House, dates back to December 10th, 1853, when two men named George Jones and Daniel Cady, sometimes found as Cady, C-A-D-Y, purchased 160 acres of land from Major Pierce B. Reading. On their new land, they erected a two-story hostelry, which they called the Canyon House. Jones and Cady were married to sisters who were the daughters of Frederick McIntosh and Rebecca Helfenstein McIntosh, pioneers of California who arrived at Sacramento in 1851 and settled in this state at that time. While on vacation visiting their daughter Cynthia Ann McIntosh Jones at the Canyon House, it was Frederick McIntosh who went hunting for hares, which were once numerous animals in the area. McIntosh shot a hare and then he followed its blood trail to a nearby bush which trapped the animal. McIntosh went to retrieve the animal from under the bush, and while he was pushing it out, it caused his gun to discharge a bullet into his left wrist, which departed his left elbow. Physicians from Shasta were notified to come treat McIntosh's wounds, but they had to amputate his left arm. While he recovered at the Canyon House, McIntosh's left arm became infected, which immediately spread into typhoid fever, and he died there on May 16, 1854. Frederick McIntosh became the first burial in the Canyon House Cemetery. The second and last burial was that of his other daughter, Elizabeth McIntosh Cady, who also died in 1854 at the age of 32. This historic cemetery is presently located nearby on private property. do not trespass. Jones and Katie's hostelry at this location included a saloon which featured the best alcohol of the time period, corrals, and a barn to their popular stopping place. They also put in 2 wells on the property. Later on, a man by the name of Hiram Willett purchased Jones's interest in the property, and Willits became a co-owner of the stopping place with Katie, only to later dissolve his partnership with Daniel Katie on September 7th, 1855, which made J. Wallace McIntosh, kid of Frederick McIntosh, the new owner, who then advertised to resell the property so he could return to the Atlantic states. It was McIntosh who sold out to William W. Tracy, who purchased this hostelry from him. Eventually, Tracy monopolized the area with different businesses, and one of his more successful enterprises was a horse racing track on the west side of the Sacramento River near this thriving locality, which he established in June of 1858, called the Canon House Racecourse, and the area continued flourishing with success. In 1860, James Waters leased the hotel from Tracy, and he began operating it under Tracy's ownership. On May 9, 1860, the Canon House School District was established with one-room schoolhouse erected on nearby Oregon Gulch for the community. Canon House or Canyon House was large enough settlement to have a voting precinct established as well. And according to the Shasta Courier newspaper of February 6, 1869, it relates the following about its local school district due to the Board of Supervisors changing the school boundary lines as ordered. That the petition changing the boundary lines of Canon House and Buckeye school districts be granted as follows: that the line of the Canon House district be extended from the road leading from Davis's Ferry to South Cow Creek Mill on the east side of the Sacramento River, along up parallel to said river and embracing all the territory 1½ miles east of banks of said river to a point opposite of Gold Run on the west side of river, Gold Run also being one of the boundary lines of said Canon House district. Canon House, which lacked a United States Post Office to send and receive mail, started disappearing with the newly established town site of Redding in 1872 by the California and Oregon Railroad, a division of the Central Pacific Railroad. In 1873, the Canon House Schoolhouse had just enough students enrolled there during that school term with J.W. Brackett as the teacher. After the town of Redding became a city in 1887, it nearly doubled in size and outgrew its original town boundaries while it eventually merged with the Canon House area. Canon House became an oft-forgotten area within the city limits. Today, only the trail marker at the site dedicates this historic route and once booming settlement, even though the Canon House Cemetery still exists today as well. I would like to remind you that if you stumble across the cemetery, it is located on private property. Please do not trespass. Alright folks, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode.